Okay, so Cole Swider's agreed a 1 year deal with the Indiana Pacers. Okay, very interesting. Cole Swider, I mean, hopefully one day will be a friend of the channel, but a player that I really liked. Um, Very interesting. Cole Swider to the Indiana Pacers. Very interesting. You know, ultimately, when you've got a player like Cole Swider, he can almost fit on any team because he's a 3 point sniper. We know he's not great defensively. In fact, he's bad defensively. You know, he's not quick enough to guard guards, and he's not strong enough to guard forwards. So he's really caught in a no man's land of defense. But if you can create plays for him to get him open, get him in the corners, get him decent looks, he'll knock down threes. You know, even for the Heat in the Summer League, he shot 49% from three, which is obviously doing that in the Summer League is a lot easier than doing it in the NBA. You know, doing that in the NBA, that's an insane efficiency. Doing it in the Summer League, of course, is very impressive, but it's not insane. But Cole Swider in the Indiana Pacers, very interesting move. 1 year non-guaranteed deal, so after a year he'll probably be gone from the Indiana Pacers, unless he impresses. I could see him impress because you get a guy like him, you put him on the floor, garbage time, run a few plays, he knocks down two threes, that's 6 points. And if you can get a guy who's on a cheap deal, a 1 year non-guaranteed deal, so he's going to be on the minimum, you're going to get him for pennies. If you can get a guy who can bring you 6 points per game, 7 points per game on a minimum, there's a lot of teams that would take that. So it'd be very interesting to see how Cole Swider does next season. I hope to see him get more game time because even though he's not super, super young, would love to see him, still develop. Sorry about that. Would love to see him, still develop and, like I said, develop that defensive side of the game because he needs to. If you're going to do anything in the NBA, you can't just be a 3 point sniper and be, a non-threat on defense. You need to do realistically, you need to do two out of the three elements of the game good. There's playmaking, there's scoring, there's defending. You just being a good playmaker isn't enough, typically, because you've got guys in the G League averaging over 10 assists. But what else do they bring to the game? Can they score the ball? Can they defend? No. You just playmake. Okay, so you're just in the G League then. Okay, you get a guy like Cole Swider who can just shoot. It's not enough to keep you in the NBA and have real staying power. You're just a shooter. Okay, go to the Summer League, average 50% from three. But can you get back on defense? And can you create your own looks or create looks for others? Can he do that? He can't really do that at the moment. Cole Swider, he can't really do that at the moment. So that's why he's getting these, 1 year non-guaranteed deals, because he's only proficient in one of the three areas of the game. Now, you become a 3 point sniper, and even if you're just acceptable on defense, there's teams that will offer you deals. You don't even need to be a lockdown defender, but as long as you're not a minus on defense, as long as you're not a complete defensive liability, if you're a guy that you can, because he's not a particularly small guy. I want to say he's 6'6", 6'7" maybe. So you're not a small guy. If you can either get quick enough to guard, 1 through 3s, or get strong enough to guard 4 through 4 and 5s, then you've got something there. Then you've got the shooting and the defense. Or if you work on your handle and be able to carry the ball a bit more, then you can start to create your own looks, get that playmaking, or, increase that basketball knowledge and then create looks for others. Then you've got that playmaking too. You've got that shooting and the playmaking. Then, because you can run an offense, teams won't be as, on you for that defense. Of course, teams will always be on you for defense because that's when you're a player that hasn't been established in the league. I remember with DeJounte Murray when he made the all-defensive team, defense is what gets you on the court for a lot of these players. Defense is what gets you on the court. You need to be a hound on defense. Cole Swider's not that at the moment, but I'm happy that NBA teams are still giving him a chance because I want to see him develop. This is a player that I've known, since he went undrafted, and joined the South Bay Lakers. This player I was super excited to get because, you know, I'm hearing about this guy, like the South Bay Lakers just signed Cole Swider. He was one of the best catch and shoots in college this season before he joined. But, you know, let's see what happens with Cole Swider. A player that we've talked about before on the channel and had some good things to say about him, and was interested to see where he'd land up. You know, I'd assumed he'd, you know, just go back to the Heat after the two-way deal. But he's at the Pacers now, and that's potentially a good move if they give him the game time, if they let him develop. And on his side as well, if he develops as well. Because it's the NBA, it's cutthroat. They're not just going to give you game time. You need to prove yourself that when you're on the floor, you take your shots and you make them. But let's see what else they got for Cole Swider.